Thank you everybody for coming today evening and giving me an opportunity to share with you something that I've learned in my journey of staying here in this monastery for 24 and a half years. So, so we'll begin with a prayer. So some of you may not know what these prayers are. Just enter that space, be there, and then after 3 minutes, or maybe 2 and 3 minutes, then we'll start the class. Is that okay? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यम् ईश्वरम् नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। योऽन्ता प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तान् सञ्जीवयत किल शक्तिधरा स्वधाम्ना अन्यांश हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं। कथाञ्चन स्मृते यस्मिन् दुष्करं सुकरं भवेत् विस्मृते विपरीतं स्यात् श्रीचैतन्य नमामि तम्। Thank you and welcome to this talk on lessons from the road. So first of all, I would like to express my deep gratitude to Dayalu Ram Prabhu, Radhika Kishori Mataji and the entire Unbounders team. They have been doing this kind of sessions for many years now. I remember 2 years ago also you had called me for a talk on mind your mind or something like that. Yes. So I'm happy that we have such a dedicated couple and they are just serving for so many years. It's very inspiring. Thank you, Prabhu. And also, thank you to all of you. You could have spent a Saturday evening many ways. There are many interesting ways you could spend your time, but you chose to come to a temple. So my deep gratitude to you. So today I want to discuss with you 4 topics. I'll keep my eye on the watch. So first I want to tell you why this topic, what is lessons from the road all about. Okay. Then I want to share with you what exactly is spiritual life. See, you've come to an iskcon temple, right? You have, right now, you could have chosen to go to the Chowpatty beach, or you could have gone to a club or a sports stadium. You could have done so many other things today. But you are here, so you need to know what exactly is spiritual life. Is it some mumbo jumbo? What is it exactly? Is it abstract? Can we understand what it is? So I'm going to give you an insight into what exactly is spiritual life so that you can relate to it. That's the second topic. And then third, once you hear these 2 topics, then some of you may be interested to practice spiritual life. So then I'll share with you 6 simple things which you can do right away. Some of them we'll do here also. which is basically what spiritual life is all about. 6 things, which I have been practicing for last more than 26 years. I joined the monastery 24 and a half years ago. So these 6 things I will share. All of you have a notepad and pen? Yes. So some exercises will require you to write. So we will do this. So how many topics? 3 topics, right? Practice. First is what is lessons on the road. Then what exactly is spiritual life? 6 practices. And finally, after hearing these 6 practices, you may say, oh, wait. What exactly is the essence of all of it? Because what happens, when you hear too many things, sometimes you say, give me one takeaway. So that's going to be one thing. It's like you have a garland. There is something which is unseen in the garland. What is that? The thread. The flowers are seen. So after hearing all of this, you will say, what is the thread that binds all of what you said? Or like if you're eating pizza, pasta, and nice dosas and all of that, you have a big feast in front of you. But what is the most important thing that's needed to enjoy all the snacks that you enjoy? What is the ingredient, the most important ingredient you never talk about? The salt, right? So what is the salt of this entire discussion? That's the last topic. Okay, we'll begin right away. The first, lessons from the road. So now, this is a small book. It will be over in 2 hours. So I'll be happy if you read it because I put in effort. But I won't tell you all the stories that are there in this book because I want you to enjoy them. But I'll tell you why I wrote this book. I wrote it last year. There's a reason I wrote this book because I've been traveling for many years now and preaching, going to different countries. Even in India, I preach a lot in the villages. And over a period of time, I developed a disconnect from the youth. I'm just sharing my story with you. I thought around 2013, I thought, oh, youth and me are different. Now I'm 50. Some of you are 20, I guess. So there's a generation gap. So I thought I can't understand these kids. And the kids won't understand what I have to say. So let me leave them alone. So that's how I kind of resolved in 2012, 2013. And I was doing something else. I was going different places, dealing with congregation. Because I thought there is a generation gap. But then I had an amazing experience last year. Last year when I went to US for the first time. I'd been traveling to other places, but US, I traveled to 25 cities in 30 days. It was a whirlwind tour. And I was amazed. I met so many youth. And there were 2 problems. One is generation gap, and the second was cultural differences. Yet, everyone connected with me in all places. And I was like, wow, it was as if God is telling me that you have something to share with them. I got a lot of confidence. And I came back, wrote this book. Because I realized it's not about me, why I could connect. I got a realization which I want to share, which this book is all about. Whatever we learn in our life, it's not because of us. It's because of a lot of factors. Because I've experienced, to be honest, why I got a disconnect from the youth is because when I talk to young boys and girls, even today, when I talk to them, I'm amazed. 90% of the boys and girls I speak to, I'm like, what are you saying? And then I ask them, how old are you? Somebody says 20, 22. Then immediately I go back on a time machine to when I was 22. And I start thinking, well, I never thought like this when I was 22. So I see today's youth are more evolved. I'm not saying all of them, but many of them are more evolved, more mature than what I was way back in late 80s and early 90s. So I'm impressed. So I thought maybe I'm inadequate. But then this US trip revealed to me that I have learned something from my seniors. And my seniors have learned something from their seniors. And you know something? For thousands of years, wise men and women have walked on this planet Earth. They have breathed the same air. They have drunk the same water. And they have left behind a lot of wisdom. And I heard it. I read it in the monastery. And I had my own practices. And that helped me evolve. And learn. And when I shared what I learned and what I have observed with the younger generation, just like I made my life better, they can make their lives better. You're getting it? Because it's evolved knowledge, it's evolved wisdom. So I have something to share with you which I'm sure will help you, because it's not mine. It's collected from many places. So with this background, I want to now enter the topic about spiritual life. So what I learned, I've shared it here. There are many stories. I'll briefly tell you what it is. This book has 2 sections. I'll just briefly tell you about the people and places I went to and what are the different lessons we learn. Is it possible to be happy with little? I went to a village and what I saw there. And then I went to Russia. Nowadays, Russia is very unpopular amongst many people. They call Russia an aggressor country which has invaded Ukraine. But when you meet the common people there, what happens? So that's entire chapter. Then about my experience with a very famous cricket superstar when I was a young boy. What happened to me when I met him? I was like, wow. And then the whole story. And then contemporary heroes like Rajnikant, Virat Kohli, Dhoni, what we can learn from them. What are the spiritual lessons we can learn from them? That's one chapter. Then about one Indian spy was caught by the Pakistan government, and then how we languished in the Pakistan jails for many years and we came back to India. So this story. And then finally, Bollywood dreams about one famous actress who died a few years ago, and then what happened in her funeral, and then what lessons we can learn from that. And then about Abdul Kalam, an entire chapter. Not exactly about Abdul Kalam, but Mahatma Vidur from the Mahabharata, and comparing him with Abdul Kalam. And then a friend of mine who is a very successful man in the stock market and is also a Hare Krishna spiritualist. So how can you be in the stock market and also be a spiritualist? And then finally an article on the movie spells, the effect of movies on our mind. That's one. And this is about people and places. And then there's an entire section on principles and process that we follow in our lives. Like what exactly is Bhakti Yoga, and how do we not get trapped by rituals but practice spirituality? How do we cope with lust? Lust is something, it's like the dark side of us, which we don't talk about, but we're struggling with it. What do we do with it? And then an appointment with Mr. Death. One of my very close friends was diagnosed with cancer, and what did he do with it? And then finally, terrorism. When you're all young kids, there was a big terrorism attack in Mumbai, which happened in 2008. And that Ajmal Kasab was caught right outside our temple, just 300 meters at the main road there. And it was a big shootout, and we heard all of it, and there was fear and panic. What happened during those days? So that's been described with spiritual lessons, of course. And then finally, one chapter on how do we pray to God. You may want to know, how do we pray to God? And then how to appreciate and practice gratitude in life. And then about Warren Buffett's life and what lessons we can, Warren Buffett, right? So his life, how can a billionaire be a renunciant? So is he a renunciant in disguise? We will read about him. And finally, last article is on how we can play cricket in spiritual life. So what is spirituality got to do with cricket? That's the last chapter. So this is about my book, Lessons from the Road, because I was asked to speak about it. Now we'll come to spiritual life. Okay, the first topic is done. I feel a little shy to talk about my own book, but I spoke about it nevertheless. Now, spiritual life, what is it? It's simply 2 words. See if you can get it. And if these 2 words resonate with you, congratulations, you are a spiritualist. One is connect. Connect to God or a higher power or universe. And second word is contribute. Make somebody else's life better. So if you have these 2 words or these 2 principles in your life, connect to God and contribute to this world. Both, not one of them. Both are needed. Because your contribution can be sustained only when you are connected. And connection is useless if you can't contribute. So what do you mean by connect? Connect is basically a sense of shelter. You feel safe. Like for example, if you're stuck in a traffic jam, and then when you go home and you feel a sense of peace, a sense of shelter. You feel safe at home. So your home state in your inner world, that's what we mean by connect, where you feel a sense of belonging. So connect is sense of shelter. Contribution means service. Connect and contribute is spiritual life all about. Is it clear? Shelter and service, or to receive love and share love. Clear? Like if you're hungry, you've not eaten for many days, and then what is the first thing you want to do? Eat. But once you are full, you also want to, I'm not saying you want to, but a person wants to give, share, serve. But you can't serve if you are famished. So you receive and you also give back. That is spiritual life. Simple to understand, but difficult to practice. And that's what we're going to discuss today. It's not something complicated. It's very simple. Connect to God and contribute to the world. See, a simple example. You love your parents, right? So let's say your parents have gone out, or you've gone out of town, or you love your friend, somebody close to you, or some friends, your brothers, your siblings, relatives. If you're not in touch with them, what happens? Your relationship weakens, right? So what do you do? How do you stay in touch? You call them, you send a text message, right? You ping them. You're in touch with them. So when you're in touch with them, your relationship continues, right? Simple logic. Similarly, I have a question to you. You don't have to answer right now. Are you in touch with yourself? You may be, maybe not. Maybe sometimes, maybe not always. Are you in touch with yourself? What I mean by that is, do you know what is your authentic self? See, we have an adopted self where we are always looking for approval from others. We are trying to control, or we are driven by fears, or we want to enjoy, or we are always time conscious, or we are always wanting to do things in a fast. We are speed conscious. These things happen to us. This is when we are disconnected from our authentic self. Or like it happens to me sometimes. I'm planning for my next visit, travel. Even when I'm praying, my mind is planning, and then I have to come back. Or it could be distracted by the phone messages. Basically, there are many ways you could be disconnected from your authentic self, and we take in an adopted self. So there is a real self, which is I, which is the real you, and there is a a reactive self, which reacts to what happens to you. So what are you most of the time? Are you your real self or your reactive self? Are you your authentic self or an adopted self? Is this making sense, or am I being too complicated? You can follow what I'm saying? So connect. So the whole idea, the whole premise of this discussion is connect and contribute means basically connecting to your authentic self. So in our spiritual tradition, I practice what is called Bhakti Yoga. So we connect to God by connecting first to our authentic self, and then we contribute to the world. Recently, there was a very major, unfortunate, tragic train accident. All of you are aware of it. Where did it happen? Orissa, in a small town. So one cycle repair wala, I think, yeah. Simple man, Orissa people worship which aspect of God? Lord Jagannath. So he was a Jagannath devotee like any other Orissa man. And he was in his shop, a small, quaint village, town where nothing happens most of the time. And suddenly 3 train collisions, explosive, devastating. And what did he do spontaneously? Because his life is centered on being connected to Lord Jagannath. What do you think he did spontaneously? He ran to the site to see what happened. So 7:37 in the evening. And immediately began to help. People were screaming and dead bodies, blood, and all those things. And then he called his friend. He gathered 50 people. And for the next 14 hours, they were just till morning 9 o'clock, they were just serving. I mean, he's not a big man. He's not, the cameras are not hounding him. He is not a celebrated Bollywood star or a cricket superhero. He was contributing in ways which we can't even imagine. But that was a test. Because he was deeply connected, he could contribute. And after that, of course, he collapsed. I personally feel just like the accident, the survivors need emotional healing and help. He will also need one because it must have been intense for him. He will need some help. So the point is, you are connected, you can contribute. And this balance is what is spiritual life all about. So this is the second topic I wanted to discuss. Is it clear? What is the first topic we discussed? The book, The Lessons from the Road. I told you what the chapters are all about. So it's a small book, you can take it. And then I spoke about in the first topic about my struggle, and I understood that today's youth are amazing, but there are a lot of things you could gain. Oscar Wilde, one of the most famous British playwrights, he said, every generation thinks they are smarter than the previous generation and wiser than the next. So I don't want to make that mistake. I remember my aunt telling my sister when she was a young girl and she was fighting with my mom and her moms actually. She's my cousin. So my aunt would tell her, the day you realize that your mother was right, you will have a daughter who will be convinced you are wrong. So time is what many times teaches us many lessons. So I don't want to make that mistake. I trust your intelligence. You're already evolved. So with an open mind, you can understand and accept these two principles: connect and contribute. This is the essence of spiritual life. Okay? So now what is the next question that arises? How do we translate this into daily practice? Right? Or another question that could come is, okay, how can I connect to my authentic self so that I am always peaceful? So I'm going to share with you right now 6 amazing practices which some of them you can do right now. Are you ready for it? So the first one is called breathe. Breathe. Okay, I'll ask a very stupid question, but raise your hand if you know the answer. How many of you breathe? Is it a difficult question? Please raise your hand if you breathe. Yes? All of you breathe, right? All of you raised your hands. Next, second question. How many of you are aware or conscious when you breathe? Oh, 2 of you, 3, okay. 5, great. So for the first question, everybody raised their hand. And you may have thought it's such a stupid question, but the second question was more thought-provoking. So how many of you breathe? Everybody. How many of you are aware that you are breathing? That's where we fail. I'll do a small experiment with you. Okay? Now you're sitting straight. Answer one question. All of you breathe, we breathe in and we breathe out, right? So I have a question right now. Answer immediately. Raise your hand. When you breathe in, our stomach goes inside or comes out? How many of you feel it goes in? Okay, I see a few hands. Half. Thank you. How many of you feel when we breathe in, stomach comes out? Thank you. So half of you felt that we human beings, when we breathe in, stomach goes in. And half of you felt that we human beings, when we breathe, our stomach goes out. That means we human beings don't know how to breathe. Animals are more, I think they are better off. So what exactly happens? What do you think happens? Stomach goes in or it comes out? Goes in. See, I hear both words, in and out. So what you do, let's do a small experiment. Sit comfortably. Don't be stiff. See, I feel this is such an important exercise we are doing because you don't know how to breathe. Or you are not sure. This is disastrous. Most diseases can be avoided if you simply learn how to breathe. No doctors will tell you this because they'll lose a prospective patient. But this is it. This is called in the Taittiriya Upanishad, the books that we read, this is called as Pranamaya Kosh. You are cleaning up your pranas, your vital life force in the body. So, okay, now you're sitting comfortably, right? Don't be stiff and don't be like this. You'll fall asleep. Just breathe, relax. Close your eyes. Gently inhale. Now exhale. Keep inhaling and exhaling slowly. Now take your right hand, put it in your stomach. Continue inhaling and exhaling. Slowly, gently. Relax. Open your eyes. You can stop breathing. No, I can't say that. I can't say stop breathing. Open your eyes, continue breathing, but you can bring your awareness to what I'm saying now rather than your breath. So, did you notice something when you put your hand on your stomach? What happened when you inhaled? Your stomach? Really? Wow. How many of you feel it goes out? Okay, no problem. What you can do, when you're sleeping tonight, you can try this. When you're relaxed, you can try. This is okay. Even I went through that, Even I, first time when I did this, when I went for a Rishi Prabhakar's session, I also felt strongly that the stomach goes in, but it doesn't go in. It shouldn't go in. It means you are driven by fear. There's some fear and some defense mechanism is strong. So you need to let go. You need to relax. So when you sleep at night, just let go, relax. And when you're lying down on your back, you will feel, you can see that when you inhale, your stomach would come out. But all of you got it right. So this is such a basic thing and we got it wrong in the first time. So you can imagine, before becoming spiritualists, let us become human beings. Be human. That's many times I see this somewhere. Be human. It's written in many places. I don't know what it is, but be human. It makes sense to me. But then after human, then we can also practice spiritual life. So breathing is clear. So just this small exercise must have convinced you how important it is for you to breathe regularly. But simply breathing and then what? That's the first step of spiritual practices. Being more, basically when I said breathing, what I really meant was awareness. What happens when you breathe consciously for a few minutes every day, in a relaxed way, okay? Not as a thing to do. You may have tasks to do every day, 10 things to do, tick, tick, tick. So breathing, no, not like that. Relax. What I meant by breathing is relax. Okay? Can you relax for some time every day? Or no time? You think watching videos on phone, reels, on your Instagram, that is relaxation. That is not relaxation. That time your breath is, you're not aware of your breath. You are aware of, you're not even aware. You are basically just sucked in by the dopamine kicks that you get through the reels. When you talk about relaxation, we've been doing nothing. Just breathing. Trust me, your life would change dramatically by this simple one exercise. And this is free of cost. Okay? So what will happen, I'll tell you, immediate benefit. Remember we spoke about authentic self and an adopted self. We spoke about the real self and the reflective self. No, not the reflective, sorry. The reactive self, right? So when you breathe relaxedly, all the kachra that is there up here, which is of which self? The reactive self or the adopted self, all that kachra goes out. It's just like you go to the washroom and then flush out. When you flush, what happens? आप flush करते हो तो क्या होता है? सारा किए कराए पर पानी फिर जाता है, right? Or whatever. It all goes out. It just flushed out of the system. Similarly, when you breathe regularly, consciously, all the kachra is, it's like control A, delete. Or it requires practice, but it happens. And you will feel it. For me, conscious breathing, a few times, I call it as breathing breaks. Just drop everything for a few minutes, just 2 minutes. Take your smartphone, keep an alarm. That's one of the good users of the smartphone. Put an alarm for 2 minutes and then just breathe. And after 2 minutes, you'll feel refreshed. Simple. For me, breathing breaks are like drinking water. Like, it's not simply when you're thirsty. See, I drink 5-6 cups of water. Everybody drinks on an average in a day. So it's like drinking water. What happens? You feel a little energy and you feel your thirst is quenched and you need water. Similarly, you need conscious breathing, especially in modern times when you have a lot of distractions and a lot of stimulations. So first of the 6 practices is clear. What is it? Breathing. Thank you. So don't underestimate it just because you're getting it like free and it's so simple. The best things are simple and free. Life is not complicated. When I was in college, I remember we had one paper called econometrics. It was a very scoring. All other subjects papers were very theoretical. But there was a last page, I saw it, I felt there is some trick here. It can't be so simple. There is a catch here. Let me figure it out. I was just racking my brains and I wasted 20 minutes on it. And then I couldn't do it. I lost 4 or 5 marks. And when we came out of the examination hall, we were always talking, "Arey, kaisa tha, ye question kaisa tha, ye tha." And everybody, it was such a simple question. We just had to do these 3 steps. And I realized, yes, but why didn't I get it? Because my mind was complicated. I was thinking, nahi yaar, itna simple kaise ho? Nahi. We like things that are complicated. But breathing is very simple and it is effective and it is free of cost. Okay? Done? We'll go to the other 5 now. First is breathing. Second is journaling. Now, journaling is a 2-hour workshop which I do, which I can't do right now because this is another subject matter. But journaling there are many types of journaling. I practice 8 to 10 types of journaling. Now, for what is relevant for you is, what exactly is journaling? You have a paper and pen, or nowadays you have your computer, whatever. You write. Basically, put what's up here on paper, or on the computer, or on your phone. Take it out of your system through writing. See, there are celebrities who write books. They write books to share with the world what they know. But journaling is writing not to share, but writing to discover. There are many things you know, but you don't know that you know. I hope you get it. Getting it? There are many things you know, but you don't know that you know. When you start writing, you are like, wow, this is me? This was there inside? I have got so many examples I'm like amazed. I started liking myself honestly after I started journaling. And that's why I speak a lot in my classes about self-love, how you need to forgive yourself, how you need to like yourself. I can speak it with conviction because I started developing those positive feelings for myself because I trusted myself that I'm a good person at heart. There are a lot of good stuff here. And it comes out when you journal. And life appears beautiful. You connect to your authentic self through journaling. Clear? So one exercise we'll do now. We don't have a lot of time. I'll keep an alarm for 3 minutes. And 3 minutes ke liye likhna hai, theek hai? I'll tell you what to write and how to write. You just follow. Are you willing to do this experiment, all of you? The game? Right? All of you will write, right? Okay, now listen to this rule. This is called as, listen to this very carefully. This is one of the journaling called as free writing. What is it called? Free writing means you just write. You may say, write what? Write any damn thing. Just keep writing. Okay, now you'll say, but what if I go blank? Then write that. I'm going blank right now. What a stupid exercise Prabhuji has given. Whatever it is you write. Sometimes you get stuck, right? Then you write that. I'm getting stuck. I don't know what to do. Just keep writing till I say stop. Is it clear? Don't start now. I'll say start. Everybody is clear about the rules? Somebody would like to explain what is the rule? जोर से कोई एक व्यक्ति बोल दो. What is the rule of this Free writing. Write anything and keep writing. And what else? Write anything, keep writing. What else? If you go blank, then write that you're going blank. Basically, keep writing till when? Till when? Till I say stop. Can you do it? It's difficult? No, right? But wait. Now, you may want some ideas to write because you may say, I'll write anything, but you may be already clear about what to write. But some of you may be like, I don't want to start. Problem is to start. I've seen many people in my writing workshops, journaling workshops, they don't start. That is the biggest problem. That's a jinx because they're scared of, they've written so many school exams, college, always you have to write assignments, reports. So they think this is also that kind of writing. This is not that kind of writing. This is a very pleasurable writing because nobody's going to read, nobody's going to give you an A for it. So many people are scared to start, but once you learn the technique, then it's going to be difficult for me to stop you. It's amazing. So I'll give you one technique today. This is called now writing or awareness writing, which is one sub category of free writing. What is this called? Awareness or now writing. Now writing means what is happening right now in my mind. Like for example, you could write, the AC is too cold. I wish the AC was, let it continue like this, but I'm just saying, something could be in your mind. Or you could say, I'm feeling hungry. I hope they give proper dinner after the class. But don't write it just like that. Just say, right now, my mind is saying that I'm hungry. Now my mind is saying, oh, I have to complete my assignment for the college. My mind now tells me that there is an itch on my lower back. I need to scratch. Don't do anything. Now my mind is telling me, go to the washroom. Whatever your mind says, write it down. Is that okay? This is called what? Awareness or now writing. And you know what you will discover? Something amazing. As you write the sentence, before you complete the sentence, you will realize that your mind has told you 5 things. And at the end of it, you will be like, wow, I am different from my mind. Till now, your identity had been merged with your mind. Now suddenly, just like I am seeing you, you are seeing me, you will see your mind. Acha, aisa hai mera mind. Isn't that an amazing discovery? So I have given you enough tools, enough techniques. So will you start? 1, 2, 3, start. Don't stop. Don't stop. Keep writing. In case you're going blank, you can write about the sounds you're hearing right now. Or you can write about the smells that you're experiencing. Or what's happening in your body right now. Or you could write about what thoughts you're getting in your head right now. Just 30 seconds more. Keep writing, keep writing. Rukna nahi hai. It's like jogging for the mind. Hare Krishna. You can now stop. If it makes sense to you, do you see some merit in this? I know 3 minutes is a very short time. Generally, I do it as a 10-minute exercise because that's when the real churning happens. 3 minutes is like just over. So did anybody try this exercise which I said about writing what's the different thoughts that you get in your mind? Did anybody try that? You tried that? Anybody wants to share some realization you got? Any realization you got while doing this exercise? Yes? Yeah.
Yeah. So just staying with one thought and writing it to the end,
Under so many
like
thoughts.
really allowed it to be processed to the end, and what was left was kind of empty space.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
See, we have at least, thank you for sharing that. It's brilliant. See, as you're writing your one thought, then generally what happens, one thought follows another so fast that it's seamlessly integrated into our being so much. We have 55,000 thoughts a day. You don't even know what's happening. But when you start writing what's happening inside, you realize that you are not your thoughts. You are different from your thoughts. And then a time comes when there are no thoughts. For some of you. For some of you, it could be like you're clearly seeing your mind, clearly seeing yourself as different from your thoughts. So can you try this at home later? And there are many other types of journaling. I'll share that later. So this is second. What is the first practice of spiritual life? Breathing. Second, journaling. Third is called praying. Praying is, again, you will find one chapter on this in my book, but praying is again another 2-hour workshop in itself, art of prayers. But what I could share here in brief is praying is when you enter a sacred space and you connect to a being or a force or a person higher than yourself. In our tradition, we connect to Krishna, Lord Jagannath. So what you basically do is, just like you would talk to the person you love the most. Can you have a conversation with Lord? If you can have a conversation with God, that is prayer. And in a conversation, it's not that you only talk, you also listen. Similarly, you pray to God, you tell what's in your heart, and you also pause. You are present to receive. So you may say, or practical. So practical ke liye, prayer basically in simple words, it means thanking the Lord for what you've got. That's how prayer begins. So you all have a paper and pen, right? So if I give you 30 seconds, just when I say start, in 30 seconds, you have to write 1, 2, 3. You have to write as many as you can. the things that you would really, really, really like to thank God for that you've got in your life. Your time starts now. Keep writing, keep writing. Something, you have to thank God for something. Okay, stop. Stop. Once I did this exercise. This is again a 10-minute exercise, gratitude journal. This is a true story. One boy was sitting, not for a journaling workshop, we are a little more spread out and it's like relaxed writing. So one boy refused to write. He was sitting behind, he was looking out of the window. I said, why are you not writing? He said, actually, honestly, the exercise I gave was, the year is coming to an end. In the last 1 year, who are the people you would like to thank genuinely and thank them? So he was like, Prabhu, there are so many things I've done good for others. They need to thank me. So he just couldn't enter that space of gratitude. Because many times we think gratitude is a feeling, right? Many people think gratitude is a feeling. It's an abstract thing. Oh, I feel thankful. I feel gratitude. No. That's the lowest level. Gratitude is actually a practice. So you could tell someone, thank you. That's like saying thank you with words. But there is gratitude with meaning. When you actually mean, there is saying a thank you, there is meaning a thank you, and there is living a thank you. When you write, you can live a thank you because you enter that space of gratitude. And gratitude is an amazing, amazing principle, the psychological benefits of it, that's all another subject matter. But this boy refused to write and he was very reluctant. But then I left him alone. But after 2 months, he called me and he said, I tried it at home one day and I'm so glad I'm doing this. He suddenly started seeing his life is a blessing. So I had no shoes and I complained until I met a man who had no feet. So we are always complaining. When you start writing gratitude, suddenly you start living in the gain gap. You start feeling adequate. You start feeling happy with yourself. You start liking yourself. And then others also start liking you because you like yourself. Nobody likes a person who doesn't like himself or herself. Let me tell you that. So, gratitude journal. So what was I saying? Gratitude is the essence of prayer. So, if you want to know what is prayer, write a thank you. Now, there is one exercise. We will not do it now. But if you do this, you will know what is the power and magic of prayer. That is, you wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, some points. Okay, we'll do this for 30 seconds. Pick any one of those points that you have thanked God for, right? And somebody has written 5 points, 6 points, right? 7 points. Kuch to likha hoga na? Some point that you thank for 7 points, right? So pick any one of them that you really want, that you really like, one of the 7 or 8 things. Okay? All of you have marked it. Okay, now in the next 30 seconds, all of you know what you have thanked the Lord for, right? Okay, now in the next 30 seconds, when I say start, you're going to write, you're going to answer the question, why? Why do you want to thank God for that? Your time starts now. Hare Krishna, thank you. See, I'm just doing small exercises with you, but these are extremely powerful. When you thank and answer the question why, you will be entering the space of emotions. You will be adding emotions into your gratitude. And then you will see that your gratitude will actually act as a tonic. Till then, it's simply lip service. No, I just thank God. Answer why. ठीक है? So prayer हो गया. What are the first three? What is the first one? Breathing, journaling, prayer. And what are these three about? What is the topic we are discussing? Practices for spiritual life, right? The fourth, there are six, and now I'm going to rush through the remaining three. The fourth is relationships, or in other words, association. Like what you're doing right now, you are taking association of each other. You may not be aware, but you are there with other people who are also having similar desire, right? Like you came for this seminar expecting something. There's somebody else who also have that need or that desire. So if you want to progress in spiritual life, associate with those who are like you. If you want, what is the easiest way to become a drunkard? Make friends with other drunkards. How do you become an addict? Drug addict. Similarly, how do you become a spiritualist? Have relationships with other spiritualists. Okay? This is the fourth point. Everybody clear? First is breathing, journaling, prayer, relationships, and next is scriptures or wisdom books. Scriptures. What does scriptures mean? How many of you have heard of the book Bhagavad Gita? All of you have heard, right? Srimad Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Mahabharata. In India, everybody has. See, this question when I ask it's amazing. Even in Amsterdam, I asked in one university, they knew Ramayana. I was like, wow, there were 10 people in the class. 9 of them raised their hands. And all of them were Western bodied. I was like, wow, you know Ramayana? Yeah, we've heard about it. It's just like, you have heard of Iliad, Omar. In India, we know about Greek literature like that. So they know about Ramayana. So all of you have heard of these books. So hearing them or reading them or hearing from people who are practicing that. Like for example, this is also part of scripture study, what you're doing right now. Because somebody who is reading scriptures is sharing his realizations. So just like you are hearing me now, you know something, I every day hear my seniors and juniors give class in the temple. Every day we have a class in the temple. And I sit in the audience like you are sitting and I hear. And sometimes if I have a doubt, I ask questions. And sometimes it's somebody who is like 15 years junior to me. Somebody whom I preached to when he was in college. And now he is a monk or is a senior member of the congregation and he's studying scriptures. So it's not the person, it's the process of hearing. It helps. I'll tell you how it helps. Some of you may say, well, if I read Bhagavad Gita, will it help me improve my relationship with my parents? Or will it help me get a job? Does it answer the question on what our unfriendly neighbor is doing? Like India is facing threats from 2 unfriendly neighboring countries. So is there a solution for that in the Bhagavad Gita? And you know what is my answer to all these questions? Believe it or not, yes. You will tell me which page, which verse, which chapter. Please hear attentively. I'm going to tell you. Just hear the class or read the scriptures faithfully with attention. What happens inside is there is something called as intuition inside, or an inner compass. That gets sharpened when you hear wisdom coming from another realm. And then, as that gets sharpened, when you are put in a provocative situation, what to do at that right time, you will be directed to do the right thing. I'll give an example. Indian Military Academy, they have many courses. So one of the courses is 3-year course. So all these people who study to become energy commandos, one of the subjects they have is different wars in history. They study all the famous battles, like Battle of Somme or Battle of Kargil War, everything they study. Or Operation Barbarossa, which Hitler attacked Russia within 1941. All these, or the Battle of Waterloo, where Napoleon was defeated. So all these battles they study, what strategy was used, what happened, and all of that. And then they have a 3-hour exam. Like you have your college exams, They have an exam on the famous battles in history. And they study all those battles, they write the exam. And then there is a terrorist attack at Taj Mahal Hotel. And the NFG commandos entered the hotel. As they were entering, they didn't stop to think, now which answer should I apply from that course? We studied so many wars. Maybe we can use that strategy. Oh no, maybe Operation Barbarossa. No, maybe Second World War. Copy paste. अरे कोई भी solution fit नहीं हो रहा है. अरे इतना सारा solution पढ़ा हमने. No, they don't think like that. They have studied it sincerely. What has happened? Their inner compass has got sharpened for battles. Right? So when they are in that situation, which is a unique battle, which will be part of future textbooks in the military academy, but there, if they have sincerely studied for 3 years in that course, now their conscience is developed and evolved. What to do in that situation at that time, their intelligence will be directed by a higher force. And they will know how to adapt, adopt, do the right thing at that right time. Make sense what I'm saying? This is how wars are fought. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita is a manual for all the battles that you are fighting, because you are like Arjuna, you are a warrior. Each one of you here is a warrior. So when you read the Bhagavad Gita sincerely, each time I read, I discover something new. And then when you face battles of life, you are guided by a higher power beyond yourself to do the right thing at the right time in that situation. That's how it's practical. So this is the 5th practice of spiritual life. Breathing, journaling, loud, praying, relationships, scriptures, and the last and the most important is service. Serving others. Serving is a great way to discover your authentic self. What happens in service is you go beyond yourself. Like a simple example. How many of you have offered a seat in the bus or a train to a pregnant woman or an elderly person? Have you ever done that? See, all of you raised. And did you feel good about it? Did you get something in return? Did you get money? No, you just did it and you felt good, right? This is a simple proof of service, how service helps. Going beyond we are stuck up with our own problems in life, right? It's all about the 3 most important words in our dictionary is I, me, and mine, myself. That's it. But when we start serving, we start realizing I'm not so important. There are other people who are more important. And then you see, if I'm not so important, my problems are also not so important. See, I don't know, if you have a 10 rupee coin, don't take it out now, but just take a 10 rupee coin sometime and stand in the afternoon sun. Look at the afternoon sun and put this coin right in front of your eyes. What does it do? It blocks the vision of the sun. A 10 rupee coin can block the vision of the sun if you keep it too close to your eyes. Now, what is the size? Can you compare the size of the sun and the coin? How many times bigger is the sun compared to a coin? Quadrillion times, right? But this 10 rupee coin has the power to block the vision of the sun. Because why? Because you have kept that coin too close to your eyes. Similarly, your problems right now, my dear friends, is like a 10 rupee coin. And because you're keeping it so close to your consciousness, you're unable to see the big, beautiful reality of the sun-like universe, the universal goodness. कुछ दिख नहीं रहा है आपको क्योंकि मेरा प्रॉब्लम. Somebody told me, प्रभु जी लाइफ में पहले बहुत टेंशन रहा करता था, अभी टेंशन में थोड़ा लाइफ रह गया है. So many, मेरा प्रॉब्लम. Mind is never satisfied. मन खुश है तो एक बूंद भी बरसात है. One poet said, मन खुश है तो एक बूंद भी बरसात है, दुखी मन के आगे समुंदर की भी क्या औकात है. I can't translate this into English. But that's how, mind is never satisfied. Where was I? Service. So when we get out of our heads and enter the world of service, life becomes beautiful. I'll give a simple example. Just like you shared, like you said yes to sharing something. I'll tell you how I learned this lesson. When I joined the ashram in the year 1999 March, I used to stay at Cuff Parade, Kolaba. So my mom would come every weekend, and in the month of March, April, she would get me a big bag of Alfonso mangoes. And in India, people love mangoes even then. And I was very fond of mangoes. And my mom knew that I have a weakness for that. So she would get this big bag of mangoes. And we all have been given one locker where we keep all our stuff. That's, like all brahmacharis during those days. I was a young brahmachari. So we were given one locker where we keep two pair of clothes and a book, like that. And I would push this bag of mangoes inside that locker. And every day I would take out one in the morning or afternoon, evening, like that. And I would sit in one corner and I would maja aata tha. The mango would taste. I was fond of mangoes and I would enjoy that mango. Like this, few weeks passed. Every day, because by the end of the week, my bag would be empty. And my mom would come again. So one day something interesting happened. My mom she brought 2 bags that day, and I kept it inside the locker. And then I removed one mango and was about to eat. I sat on the locker. As I was about to eat, suddenly I saw another brahmachari come from the opposite direction. And he smiled at me, I smiled at him, and very reluctantly, not that I really wanted to share, I said, "You want a mango?" And he immediately said, "Yes." And he took. And then as he was about to bite it, he said, "Oh, but have I taken yours? Do you have one for yourself?" I said, "Yes, I have one." So I just showed him one mango. I said, "I have one." So then both of us can have. So we sat and we were about to start. 2 other brahmacharis started coming. And they said, "Arey, mango festival chal raha hai." I said, reluctantly, "You also want?" He said, "Yeah, why not? You have?" I said, "Yeah." I opened my bag. I gave them 2 mangoes. And then 2 others came from this side. And then I gave. And then within a minute, I think there are 10, 15 brahmacharis came. And I had mangoes for everyone. And we all sat there and we were joking. We were laughing about something. We all had mangoes. And then, we washed our hands. And then they all went for their we all have services the whole day. So they all went for their respective services. And then this whole thing lasted for maybe 10 minutes. And then I sat down on my locker. I took out my journal as I do every day. And then I realized something. You know what I realized? The mangoes never tasted sweeter. Something magical had happened that day. I thought, was it the mangoes that was so sweet? No, there was something else. What I experienced, what I had done was inadvertently, not really willingly, I had just shared. And just that act of sharing. Although I had to wait for one more week now, but I was like, andar se fully satisfied. And the next day I tried serving prasadam in the temple, because we have first serve round and second round. I thought I'll take prasadam in the second round after everyone is taken. I realized that giving me more satisfaction. I don't want to go on and on about my own stories, but I hope you got the point. Service is the best way to discover your authentic self and connect and contribute. So, and the last topic for today is, what is the last topic? Okay, so many 6 points, all of that is okay, but what is that salt? Or what is that thread that binds all of this? That is simple 4-word phrase, coming back to awareness, or coming back to Krishna, or coming back to God. That is the essence of the entire 1-hour class that I gave you today. Coming back to awareness, or coming back to Krishna. I'll need to explain this for a few minutes. When a plane is going from Mumbai to Delhi, many times the winds throw the plane off course. In fact, 90% of the time the plane may be off course, but it keeps coming back on track and it reaches the destination. So coming back to awareness means today we did breathing. So your mind maybe have wandered, but when you get it back to breathing, you have come back on track. Or when you're writing journaling, your mind is going here and there, you gently come back, that is coming back to awareness. When you're praying and your mind is, so we pray like we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We chant our japa, the mind wanders. So what we do, like the plane goes off course, we gently come back to chanting. So we keep coming back to awareness, we discover our authentic self. Is this clear? So to summarize, we'll have some questions now. Before we take questions, I want to summarize what we discussed today. So the first topic we discussed was I spoke about this book. I told you about some chapters. Anybody remembers any of the names or any of the things that I spoke from this book? Yeah, Abdul Kalam and Mahatma Vidur. Like this, many chapters are there. Anything else? Basically, I spoke about how this book came because of what experience of a disconnect with the youth, and then I realized that all of us have something to share with the world, and we can learn from others. Right? So that was about this book. Then I spoke about what exactly is spiritual life all about. Anybody would like to answer? Raise your hand if you know the answer. What is spiritual life all about? Please raise your hand. I see a hand behind. Last. Yes. Yes. Red. I can see red. Yes. What is spiritual life all about? Don't see your notes. Just say what you remember.
Connect to the God and contribute.
Yes. Connect to the Lord and if I get the
Contribute
microphone, I'll
the
repeat
world.
it here. If all of you may not get the microphone. Yes. Connect to God and contribute to the world. Excellent. So connect also means shelter or receive love, and contribute means service or sharing love, giving. Okay? This is about, I spoke a story about a recent incident that shows how if you connect, you can contribute. Orissa train accident story, right? So this is about connect and contribute, and then also gave the example of you calling up your father, mother, friend, staying in touch with people you care for. Similarly, if you connect with yourself, connect your authentic self, then you can contribute in the long run. So this was about the topic about what exactly is spiritual life. Then what are the 6 practices for connecting to your authentic self? Breathing, journaling, praying, relationships, scriptures, and service. And then what is the thread that binds all of this together? Coming back to awareness, coming back to Krishna, coming back to God. So I pause here and I invite any questions or comments at this point of time. Hare Krishna. Yes. You need a microphone for this question. Acha, one more thing before you ask the question. Many of you, see, we spoke about scriptures as one of the points. I take classes on Bhagavad Gita every week, but not always. Like I take most of the time, but I have a team which, like I'm the man who takes most of the time, but sometimes I miss. If I'm traveling, somebody else takes on my behalf. So it happens once a week, but it's based on invitation. So if you're interested, you'll have to either meet me or Paulomi Mataji. Can you just come here for a minute? So this is Paulomi Mataji. She coordinates this program on Mondays. So after the class, she'll be standing there just at the back. Either you can meet her or me. I would prefer you meet her and tell her that you're interested. Then she'll take down your name and number and then she'll invite. We don't charge any fees for this class. But if you want to know more about Bhagavad Gita, how to apply it in your day-to-day life, and the series is called Life Lessons from Bhagavad Gita. So we discuss different verses and the different chapters. So, and it's related, and a lot of young people come, like you, people like you, 18 to 25 age group. So if you're interested, but it's based on invitation, so you'll have to contact her or me, and then we will invite you for this class. Hare Krishna. Yes, now we can have your question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
I have heard many of your lectures and I've noticed you always mention about journaling. So can you please provide us with some of the tips and tricks we can start journaling and how we can continue with the journaling? Because I've seen one of myself also. We start journaling, but we don't continue till the end. It stops after a week or two. So how can we improvise with that?
Yeah. So I see 2 questions. One is you said you heard that most of the classes I speak about journaling, if not all classes. Yeah, I speak about journaling a lot of times. And you are asking that the interest goes away after some time. What do I do to continue that? Right? That's your question. Some tips and see. Today I gave a few tips. Like I think they're very powerful. You try them and see. You'll get hooked to it. It will become addictive. And it's like meeting your mind every day. Arey, mind ye bol raha hai aaj. And how to make it a habit? Simple. Begin small. Make a vow that you will write every day 1 sentence. That's it. How many? Don't vow to write, I'll write 10 minutes, so nahi hoga. 1 line तो easy है ना, कभी भी निकाल के लिख सकते हैं. So one sentence ka wow karenge, after some time, after 1 month, it will become automatically, because once you start one sentence, see, the problem is starting, inertia, the law of inertia. If a body is at motion, it remains at motion. If a body is stationary, it remains at stationary unless an external force acts upon it. So it will remain. So one sentence mein kya hota? When you begin that one sentence, it becomes 2, 3, 4, and then you'll end up writing a lot. But keep your minimum wow as one sentence. That's an amazing technique and tip for writing every day. And then you will realize that you are writing a lot. And regarding other tips and techniques, this is it. This is the most important. Write one sentence every day. Begin with that. And I will tell you what happens by journaling. My experience. When you drive, today I came from our Gordon Eco Village. It was raining heavily. And we were passing through, trees. It was raining, so beautiful green, lot of trees, and the car was going very fast. I was like looking at the trees. I couldn't make out कौन सा tree है. इतना fast जा रहा था. अरे mango tree है. नहीं ये बादाम का निकल गया गाड़ी. At some point of time, because of traffic jam, the car went slow. So when the car slowed down, I could see, अच्छा mango tree है ये. अच्छा. इसके ऊपर there are 10 branches. Oh, there is a parrot sitting there. I could see details of the tree because the car slowed down. Similarly, our life right now is so fast, we don't know what's happening inside the landscape of our inner world. It's so fast, our mind is going like a car. कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है ना? But if you write, what happens? Writing slows down. You have experienced talking and writing. Writing is slower than talking. If you write for half an hour, it will be 2 full-scape A4 size pages. It will take you 30 minutes. And to speak that, it will take you less than 5 minutes. So writing slows down. So what happens? Just like the car slows down, what happens? You see everything around you. Similarly, when you write down, you see, अच्छा अभी ये thought आया, अच्छा मेरे घर में ये चल रहा है, अच्छा उसने ये. You start seeing your strengths, weaknesses, life. You get a different perspective. So basically, it's a technique. The technique is slow down your life and write 1 line a day. And all of them are integrated actually, breathing, journaling, praying. And don't simply write journals every day. Also hear scriptures. All 6 are important. Because if you write only journals, then your mind can cheat you. Mind can come to the back door also. You need a higher intelligence also. You need to hear and read wisdom books. Otherwise, your mind can cheat you. Because Hitler also wrote, Adolf Hitler. Have you heard of his name? Why is he infamous for? What did he do? He exterminated 6 million Jews. The Holocaust you have heard of, right? So Hitler also wrote a journal. So you will say, wow, Hitler bhi likh raha tha. So if you write journal, but if you don't have higher wisdom, somebody guiding you, some higher power, then journaling can make you a Hitler. Right? Now you may say, oh, I will not write only. Prabhuji ne bola Hitler ban jayega. No, that's another extreme. we either, black and white. We want black and white everything. So one of the techniques for writing journal is hear scriptures regularly, breathe, write 1 sentence. These are some of the techniques I can share along with the other techniques I shared in the class. What are the techniques I shared during the class? Now writing, free writing, awareness writing is same as now writing. Okay? Thank you. Hare Krishna. I see a hand here. I'll come to you later. Yes. How to practice detachment. Wow. So what do you mean by detachment? First you tell me, then I'll tell you how to practice it. See, if you tell me what is detachment, then I'll tell you how to practice it. What is in your mind when you say detachment? Be honest. Speak it on the microphone. You'll have to switch it on. Radhika Kishori Mataji, you can just tell me when to stop.
Hello.
Okay? You just let me know.
If we are providing any service, in return we expect something.
This is what I was looking for. So how do we get detached from expecting reciprocation from people, right? So detachment is a very big word. That's why I wanted you to be specific. Because Bhagavad Gita defines detachment in many ways. So your question, if I understand correctly, is how do I become detached from expecting from other people to reciprocate when I serve them? Right? Everybody got this question? Now, my honest answer to this is, it's not possible. And let's be realistic. So what we can do? Okay. So if I genuinely serve someone, we need some reciprocation. We need some love. Like if you're really serving someone, you want that person to say either thank you or talk to you, right? That's natural. So I'll tell you what I do. Like you live in your family of 5-6 people, right? In our monastery, it's a family of 70 people. And everybody, from like different cultures, traditions, backgrounds, different behavioral patterns, and all living in one place. So you can imagine the dynamics. It's an intense dynamic place. So once I was helping one devotee in one project and I was writing for him for some things. And then I was doing it selflessly, but he couldn't, because he was also busy, unfortunately. He couldn't communicate with me. You know what I did? I called him. I said, Prabhu, I have been serving you for last 3 months. Every day I'm spending 2-3 hours. And you are just acknowledging it by saying, okay, I received. But I need more than that. And because he's a genuine human being also, he dropped everything and he came and spent 3 hours with me. And we had, we went to Govinda's, we had pizzas and we laughed, we connected with each other. It was such a big relief. So the moral of the story is often solutions are very simple. We allow the mind to build up and imagine many stories. Oh, person is not reciprocating, he's envious, he's in a lot of stories. Sometimes a honest, open communication resolves many of the problems. So that is one. I'm answering your question. This is the first step. Second, be more realistic about your expectations. Sometimes people are, they want acknowledgement, appreciation every day and 10 times a day. If you are like that, then you won't get it. So it's important to practice detachment at that time. Detachment means you need to receive love from some source higher than this world. See, the nature of this world is everybody will disappoint you at some point of time. You may not like to hear it. There is a law, law of gravity. What is law of gravity? Any throw up, it comes down. There is a law in this world called law of suffering. Anything you enjoy or expect to enjoy, it gives you double suffering. You may not like the law, you may try to refute it, whatever you do, but it acts upon everyone. So one of the ways suffering comes is the inability of people to reciprocate with your sincere offering of service. So what you do then is, because you can't serve always if you're not getting love. What you do then? You take love from some other source, not this world. That's what we do in Bhakti Yoga. We connect with Krishna. We try to take love from the Lord. And then when we are dealing with people, what we do? We want love from them also. But we say, nahi milega, nahi milega. हमको किससे लेना है? भगवान से, कृष्ण पे. तो हम क्या करते हैं? We chant, we connect with the Lord, we receive, we feel loved, we connect. And then when we contribute selflessly without expecting, that person feels, Arey, why did he give me time? उनको तो कुछ नहीं मिला. He spent so much time for me. So that person feels, wow, he really genuinely, selflessly gave me something. And when that person feels in the heart, by your words you cannot convince. It's a feeling in the heart. When that person feels that, yes, he genuinely served me without expecting anything in return, then that person will give you love. And when that person gives you love, what will happen to you? What was your first state? You didn't expect only because you were taking from some other source. Now because you got bonus. This is a bonus, na? He is giving you love. So when you get love from this source, you are like, Arey, maine to expect bhi nahi kiya tha. And then you become grateful to the Lord. And then you give love more back. And then he sees, Arey, man, selfless. So what happens is that expands love. And it all began with you taking love from some other source. In this world, everybody wants. Everybody is hungry. And this is a fact. Everybody is like starved of love. They are like, बहुत दुख है, pain है, दिल में ना. A lot of pain people are carrying. So they want. And if just imagine 10 hungry people are sitting and everybody is crying for food. How can one hungry man feed another? How can one drowning man save another drowning man? Getting it? So it's very difficult. We all are hungry and we are like, yeah, you're not feeding me. So we are saying there is another source from where you can get your filling. In Jagannath Puri, the pujaris, the ones who cook for Lord Jagannath, they first take prasad and then they come to the kitchen. Then they take prasad, they are fully satisfied. Then they take bath and then they get fresh and then they go to the kitchen and cook for many hours. पेट भर गया, फिर अभी आराम से कुकिंग करते हैं अच्छे से. तो आप पहले अपना पेट भरो. कैसे? भगवान से लो. Take love by chanting, by connecting with devotees. And then when you deal with the family, friends, they are like, wow, this person is so selfless. Just giving. And then they become happy with you. And then when they are happy with you, they give you love, you feel, wow, I didn't expect and I'm getting so much. So like this, you're also happy, they are also happy. Is that okay? Thank you. I saw some other hand here. Okay, yeah, I'll take your question. How should we be consistent in life? Consistent, would you like to explain what you mean by consistent? The microphone is coming. I saw it pass from here. Okay, you go on. I'll repeat it on the this microphone. So you are asking about how to be consistent, like for example?
Hello, Hare Krishna. Like we are moving on the road and if we see something that attracts us, we move toward it and we get attracted and we go behind it. So like we are not consistent on the road. So how should we be consistent towards our goals and everything that we need to achieve?
So you have a goal and you want to achieve it, but you get distracted by so many things.
Yes.
Right? So basically you need accountability to yourself. So you can begin with having an external accountability, means having some friend or relative or some well-wisher to whom you are accountable. And like we have what is called as a sadhana card. Sadhana is a spiritual practice. And we have a card where I tick certain boxes every day just to ensure that I'm consistent in my habit formation. First of all, you need accountability. So you need external accountability and internal accountability. Externally, you can make somebody, somebody you trust, you can be accountable to them. Like for example, for the electronic gadgets, for all the electronic gadgets I have 4 people I'm accountable to. So they get a mail every Saturday, every Sunday on all the internet activity I have done throughout the week. That way I'm also safe, right? So accountability keeps us safe in this world and focused on what you want to achieve. If you think I'm independent, I don't need anybody, then you will have more challenges. So if you have good relationships and accountability, then you can achieve your goals. External accountability. And then after some time, you will realize that external accountability is not enough. Internal accountability is also needed. So that's why you need to have some card or some tracking sheet where you tick certain box. But don't have too many goals. Don't spread yourself too thin. You'll not be able to do it, because then you'll be overwhelmed by the goals and targets to achieve that. You'll lose the joy of spontaneity, because some of the best experiences in life come from spontaneous actions, right? So don't go other extreme. So you learn through trial and error. So you are growing, you are evolving, you are young. So is that okay? Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, I see 2 hands here. I'll take these 2 questions. First your question and then yes. यहाँ पे पहले दे दो, बाद में पीछे.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, how to balance between personal and social life? You said we should help people and we should not focus on our problems, but sometimes our problems are also so much hitting and they are needed to be solved.
Exactly, yeah.
So
I'm sorry if I conveyed that, don't be caught up in your head. Your problems also need attention.
yes, and when I help someone, my parents say you create havoc at home and also bring others havoc at home. So it is how to balance between personal and social life.
So how to balance between personal and social life.
Yes.
Okay, first, we are all social beings. We need a social life. So please don't get the wrong idea. So I'm not saying that only a social life or only a personal life. Both are needed. So how do we balance? Now, see, many of these questions now, like how to questions in life, most of the, this how do we do it questions? How? If I give you a technique now, after some time your question, like if I say you balance by chanting Hare Krishna Japa every day, after some days you'll come with a question, how do we chant Hare Krishna? Then I'll give you a technique for chanting. You'll say, how do I do that? So this how to do it questions are very tricky. Very tricky. So The answer to this, how to balance, the answer is you balance by balancing. let me clarify. Because there is nothing called as balance. Like you've seen this tightrope walk. I don't know, nowadays you find it in some streets in India. You will have two poles like this and a rope made, and some person would walk on that tight rope with the stick, and you would see that person go tilt on this side, देखा ऐसा tilt, and then that person would take the stick and again come on this side. But he's going forward. But he's not going forward like this. He's not going smoothly. How is he going? Aisa gira, then he goes this extreme. Then aisa kar karke he reaches, and then everybody applauds. So what has he done? Was his walk smooth? No. Was it balanced walk? No. But there was balance. Similarly, our life, don't expect, you are thinking, many of us think balance means we think personal भी हो गया, social भी हो गया, सब अच्छा चल रहा है. अच्छा कभी नहीं चलेगा. कभी एक दिन बहुत social हो गया, बहुत social activity हो गया. Like today was too social for me. Like morning 5 o'clock, I got up and I ran to Govardhan Eco Village. I had a lot of meetings, completed that, came in the car, I had meetings 3 hours on the way back. Then I had 2 other phone calls. Then I took a bath, I came here to full social today. So what I'm going to do, tomorrow early morning, I'm going to get up at 3 and I have a program at evening 5 o'clock. 4 o'clock I have to leave. So 3 a.m. I already made 3 a.m. to 4 p.m. I'm not going to meet anyone. I'm going to, so my walking, I had tilted on the right side too much today. So tomorrow what I'm going to do, इधर आ जाओ. But आगे चलते रहो. आप समझ रहे हो? So don't think, this many times people come to spiritual life, spiritual organizations, they think, oh, spiritual practice matlab, you have some halo around your head and you have this kind of peace. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Spiritualist people also struggle with balance. So for me to say, I'll give you a technique by which you'll have no problem, life will be balanced, and I'll be cheating you. Because we can't balance our lives all the time. So one day you be social, बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया, then you balance, spend some time with yourself. Are you getting it? So life में ना, see, I went to one spiritual organization before I came here, before I connected to this ISKCON. This is 1996. And he said life is all about peace. Life is completely balanced. I said, really? And then I asked, what is life? And you know what he did? He just smiled at me and just nodded his head. And all his sycophants, you know what sycophants? Chele chapate. The sycophant followers, they were like, wow, our Guruji is like, and then what did he do? What was his response? He just smiled at me like, I'm smiling at you now. And then he closed his eyes and he nodded his head. And I'm like, what is the answer? I asked, what is life? And he's like, complete silence. And after 2 minutes, he looked at me and said, did you enjoy the sound of silence? And everybody, wow, Guru, they are like, and I'm like, kuch samjha nahi mere ko. Then I was honest. I said, I didn't understand the meaning of what is life when you said, did you enjoy the sound of silence? Can you please clarify? Then what he said? Life means beauty. Beauty is love. Love is divinity. Divinity is sublime. And everybody clapped. I didn't understand a word again. I was like, what is this? I was trying to get all. So many times, people think spirituality means, everything is balanced, life is cool, and you have a halo. No, we also struggle. So life is a struggle. Enjoy it, okay? And we enjoy it by connecting with God and being authentic by sharing our struggles. So don't have this utopian idea that life will be balanced. ठीक है? So personal life, social life कैसे balance करना है? 2 solution. One is it will not be balanced, so come back. Come back to awareness. Remember, I spoke the essence of this discussion is coming back to awareness. You are aware that your life is tilted on personal side too much, then come to social life. That is first technique. Second is, first is come back to awareness. Second is have faith in trial and error. You are a young girl. You have a whole life ahead of you. Trust, trial and error. Like how to use smartphone. See, when I was a young boy, we didn't have smartphone. So 6 years back, I started using a smartphone because it helped me in my services. But that smartphone, unimportant things became important. And how much to use, I didn't know. Although we had all protection and systems for using the phone, but still, how much to use? So I realized nobody can help me how much to use. There is no formula, use so many hours. No, I learnt it by trial and error. Now I know how to use the smartphone. Getting it? Similarly, how to balance life, you will learn by trial and error. Is that okay? We'll take one last question, Mataji. Is that okay? Adhika Kishori Mataji? No, she had a question, yeah. Do you have time for more questions? Or this is the last question? This is the last question, okay? Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Haribol Prabhuji, so what's the difference between a person who's narcissistic and a person who loves himself?
That's a beautiful question. What is the person between, what is your name?
Chandrika.
I know you. You are Vrajagopal Prabhu's daughter?
Yeah.
My God. I saw you. I remember when Maharaj gave you the name, I was there with your father. I was there in that room and Maharaj said, your father is saying, what should we name the child? Maharaj, you give the name, and Maharaj is looking at you, and then Maharaj said Chandrika, and then he explained the name. Wow, I'm seeing you today asking such a beautiful question. What is the difference between being narcissistic and
Loving yourself.
I'm overwhelmed just looking at you. Yes, so narcissistic, self-love and narcissistic, right? Self-love is loving yourself. Narcissistic is an obsession. You become narcissistic when you are obsessed. You know what is an obsession? See, self-love is not narcissistic. When you love yourself and you add the principle of gratitude, when you love yourself and you also add gratitude, then it doesn't become narcissistic. When you love yourself and you think you are the center of the universe and everybody should serve me, then that's not self-love. That is narcissistic. Like we have one devotee said that because narcissistic is when self-love is added with false pride. When you think I am good, I am wonderful, I am beautiful, that's obsession. That's narcissistic. But when you love yourself, see, when we say self-love, what we mean is I accept the way I am. I may not be happy with certain things, like I have certain bad qualities, but I begin with acceptance. I accept who I am, where I am. I accept myself the way I am. And now I move forward to improve. You begin with a gain. Self-love means you begin with gain. You begin with who you are and you accept yourself, and then you look to improve yourself. But narcissistic is, I have nothing to improve, I have nothing to gain, I have no gaps to fulfill, I am already full. When you have self-love, you begin with, I am complete, and now I want to improve, or I want this. But when you are narcissistic, I have nothing anybody can give me. I am complete, I am the best, I am the greatest, I deserve everything. So there is something called as a gain and a gap consciousness. So when you begin with gain, when you begin with, I have got so many gifts from God, thank you, God. And in that space, when you love yourself, when you like yourself for who you are, and then you meet the gaps, then you are peaceful. That is healthy self-love. So many people suffer from self-obsession. And the test, whether you have self-love or narcissistic, there is a small test. You can know, that is the question, right? You want to know what is the difference. A simple test you can do every day. How do you feel when you're in a social situation with others who are dressed better than you, or who are speaking better than you, or who are more talented than you, or who are better achievers than you, who are better? So basically, how do you feel when you're in a social situation where others are better than you in some areas? If you feel peaceful, then you have self-love. Because when you love yourself, you'll not envy others, because you know what are the strengths you have, what are the qualities you have, and you will work on them. But when you are narcissistic, you will be very uncomfortable in a social situation. Externally, you may have all the pleasantries, but internally, you will be seething with envy, insecurity, revenge fantasies. Getting it? These are all common symptoms of somebody who is driven by a narcissistic behavior. Self-love is very healthy because you will not compete with others. And also you will have self-respect. Like if you are facing a provocative situation or a distraction or a temptation, I love myself. How can I stoop to this? How can I stoop down to this? I mean, I respect myself. I won't do this. When you hate yourself, when you don't like yourself, then you go to the other extreme of narcissistic behavior. Is that okay? Thank you once again to all of you for your kind attention and giving me an opportunity to serve you.